Evil Dead Rise is the latest film in the uh, Evil Dead movie franchise. It's the first one in 10 years since this remake right here. This came out in 2013, I believe. Evil Dead is one of my favorite horror franchises, if not my favorite. It's easily the most consistently great. I would say every movie up to Evil Dead Rise was at least a 4 out of 5, at least an A minus. They're all either really, really great or some of my favorite movies ever made, especially Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2, I think, is the pinnacle of the horror comedy. Just so much about that movie I could talk about, but that's not, now's not the time. And the reason, so I was really, really, really excited to see this movie. I mean, this was probably my most anticipated movie of the year so far. The movie I was most looking forward to out of any new release that had come up to this point. And mainly for two reasons. One, because the Evil Dead remake from 2013 was great. It did everything a horror remake should do and more. That movie was incredible. I really did love it. And the trailers for this movie looked absolutely unnerving. I mean, this looked like one of the scariest movies of the year. And I don't know. I was really, really getting hyped for Evil Dead Rise. And I left the movie theater very, very mixed. I did end up enjoying the movie a lot. I liked a lot of aspects of it. But I would be lying to you guys if I said I wasn't disappointed a little bit. I guess my expectations were way too high going into this thing. I was expecting it to be one of my favorite movies of the year. I was expecting it to be as great as the rest of the franchise. I mean, which I don't think are completely unreasonable expectations just because of this franchise's track record. Even Ash vs. Evil Dead is very, very good. But this movie, it has a lot of faults. It has points of contention with me where I'm like, oh, okay, didn't love that, or There were moments in this movie that held it back, so to say. So one thing I want to mention right off the bat, the opening credit sequence is phenomenal. I really, really loved the opening credits of this movie. Everybody's been talking about them recently, and I really, really loved that part of the movie specifically. I thought that was just an amazing way to open up the movie. Where my faults kind of seep in with this thing are two things: the characters and the location. So, the characters in this movie, I feel like, are only defined by their jobs or what they're interested in. It's kind of like what Escape Room did, if you remember that movie back from 2019, where it just gave them one trait, and that's like their one defining personality trait. Like the brother, he's into music. The sister really, really likes, like, she wants to go to a protest. The little kid likes cutting things. The mom's a tattoo artist. The sister is a guitar tech. So, and like that's their only thing. That's the only thing about their personalities that we really get from this movie. They're all very wooden characters, and not to say that the rest of the Evil Dead franchise has, great characters outside of Ash. I don't know, this movie, it felt like we were moving away from the boring kind of, stereotypical characters and moving the Evil Dead franchise into the more modern horror sphere where we get more fleshed out characters, where we get conflicts that we actually care about, where we get good relationship dynamics. And with this movie, I really feel like it really floundered in that aspect, especially during the first act. The entire exposition of this movie and the setup is really, really slipshod and is kind of patchworked together. Like it's very flimsy and weak. Like, it's just the sister, she goes to the house, she meets the mom, they're butting heads a little bit, and then boom, we're into the movie. Like, we don't get any real time to spend with the characters outside of seeing their one interest. So I don't know, I feel like that was really lazy screenwriting, and it made the bigger moments of the movie and the more scary moments feel a little less. I don't know. They hit less, if that makes any sense. The story aspect of this movie was really, really bland, and made for a little bit less of like an interesting experience, I guess. So yeah, I major hindrance on this movie right away with that. But to put a positive on things, to steer away from the negatives for a little bit, the gore is amazing. The practical effects are fantastic. Some of the acting was pretty good. Some of it wasn't. I think the sister, who was really into the protests and stuff like that, her character was But like, I thought the brother, he did a good job. The mom did a fantastic job, and she did all of her own stunts, which is something Cam told me. But she did great in the movie. I thought she was easily the best character and the best performance, because when she switches to being a Deadite, which isn't a spoiler because it happens in the trailer, when they make that switch, the movie switches and it gets really fast paced, really entertaining. The kills are awesome and disgusting and just really make you squirm, and it is legitimately scary. I think that the pacing gets a lot better, the atmosphere gets a lot better. I do think it boxes itself in a little bit by just being one floor of the entire apartment complex. I think that, I don't know, it can sometimes leave the characters with nothing to do. Like, they'll just, like, wander into a room and something weird's going on. I don't know. It's a little bit more nitpicky, but I feel like this movie could have reworked things a little bit and made, like, better use of the location. I know that the original Evil Dead movies are single location in a cabin in the woods, but I feel like they made use of that location a lot more. I feel like they did a lot more playful things with the practical effects and like the gore, and I just feel like if they would have expanded it a little bit more than they did, you could have gotten more scares, but that's besides the point. Anyway, there are so many unnerving sequences in this movie. There's one where the mom is talking to the smallest daughter, like trying to manipulate her like the Deadites do, and get her to open this door, and that was seriously one of the most freaky and unnerving scenes I've seen in a movie in a very long time. Really well done on that. Again, the kills are great. I think the camera movement is really good, especially the use of colors in this movie. I really like how this movie's lit. And the finale is awesome. Like, I feel like that kind of comes with the territory of an Evil Dead movie. The finales, no matter, how choppy the rest of the movie can be sometimes, the finale is always going to be great. This movie very easily delivers on that. I really loved the third act of this movie. Again, not really spoiling anything, but the gore is just there. Like, this movie delivers on the scares, the gore, and the entertainment value. This movie is very fun to watch. It is, a movie I'm going to be rewatching a ton. Definitely a movie I'll go out and buy on Blu-ray just to watch over and over again because of how legitimately scary it is and how fast-paced it is and how great the practical effects and the scares are in this thing. It's just, I would say it's my least favorite of the Evil Dead franchise so far, but I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to it, if that makes sense. Like, I still really liked it. I still would like to see them expand on this world. The lore that they introduced with, like, the religious stuff, which, was in the original movie, but I liked how they kind of contorted it for this movie. That was really cool. But I do think there were some issues with this thing. It was a little messy, and I think that it needs a sequel to kind of improve on the little mistakes that this movie had. But I still really liked it. I would still recommend you guys go and check it out. I'm going to give Evil Dead Rise a really, really strong B. So, yeah, that's my review for Evil Dead Rise. It's one of the longer reviews. I haven't really gotten to like the 9-10 minute mark in a while. So, have a lot to say about Evil Dead Rise. I take Evil Dead very seriously. Yeah, I'm going to be seeing Beau, I think it's Beau is Afraid, the new Ari Aster movie, Beau is Afraid, on Tuesday, which I'm very excited for. A lot of people hate it, a lot of people love it, per usual with him. I'm just, big fan of his other two movies, so I'm really excited to see that. And, yeah, I will keep you guys updated on what's going on moving forward. See you guys later.